This episode of Another Happy Pod is going to contain spoilers. If you've not experienced the content yourself, please go ahead and do so before coming back and listening to the boys ramble on about it. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to Another Happy Pod, brought to you by a network that we are no longer mentioning. The pod where we keep it fresh, positive, dripping in, what kind of vibes? Spacey vibes today. We are your hosts. My name is Lawrence. I'm joined as usual by Nathan, who is an old decrepit bastard.
There's just absolutely no fucking need for any of that. Like, I don't even know. Fuck you. Hello. Welcome back. Hope you missed us. We've been gone for a month, but now we're back.
We've been gone for so long. You know what? When we're talking about the Mandalorian season 2, by the way, it's no surprises in the title.
Season 2, baby.
Here we go. We were going to record this the very next day after the season 2 came out because we were going to make a real conscious effort.
My birthday.
It was your birthday, yeah. We were making a real conscious effort to keep it relevant and to keep our content kind of, moving with the times. A month has passed since that date. The first opportunity we didn't get to because Boris decided to lock the world down with no notice and ruin Christmas. And then the second time, we just couldn't be asked, and then we couldn't be asked again, and then we couldn't be asked again. But here we are.
So we took like a pretty much a month break, but we're back. Here we are.
Because this is so strenuous, we need to take a break. Talking into a microphone is just too hard.
I'll tell you, just getting everything set up to talk into a microphone for 40 minutes every week, it's not easy.
And I miss Nathan because of it. We don't talk outside of this podcast. We're not even friends.
No, I can't stand Lawrence.
No, well, we're going to have to stomach each other again, Nathan. Mandalorian Season 2, I can barely remember it. So where do you want to go? Where do you want to start?
How can you barely remember it?
But it's been so long since I've seen it. Yes, I know what happened in the show, but I can't remember every episode in detail. Normally, I shotgun a show or just fucking watch a movie right before we record. But I've had a month off now. I've had a month to process my thoughts, and I haven't thought about it too much.
Oh, you are the worst. I mean, neither have I, but you are the worst. All right, so let's start here. So let's start with The Mandalorian as a whole. Like season 1, season 2, just whatever. Thoughts, go, hit me.
I liked it. It came out. It was something that I was never massively super interested in it, but then I watched the first episode and have been super into it since. I deal with it, man. It's my shit. I like it. It's interesting. It's a different kind of take on Star Wars that we haven't seen, and I like the fact that there's just every time a Jedi or the Force is mentioned. Especially in season 1, the Mandalorian's what the fuck's that about? And it's so not. It's kind of breather of it's not life or death stakes anymore. Or it's not the fate of the galaxy on this man's shoulders. It's just a man for a long time trying to just protect a little kid, which I quite enjoy.
Yeah. I would agree for the most part. It is really good. It kind of caught me by surprise in the fact that I thought it was going to be one thing. I thought it was going to be this sort of gritty, underground, crime-driven, very sort of darker Star Wars show, which it just isn't. It's very much in the rest of the themes of Star Wars, keeping with everything we know. And it is a show about a single dad and his kid, and I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And Pedro Pascal in this character is just so fucking good. And we get to see so much more of him in season 2 as well, which is brilliant. I know you get the one, the big scene where he takes his mask off, and I thought, oh, okay, that's... When I first saw that episode, I thought, oh, okay, that's going to be the big thing they do every season. There's going to be the one episode. In Breaking Bad, they were only allowed to say fuck once per season. And so, when the fuck came around, it was a big thing. I thought it was going to be like that. but for the Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal taking his helmet off. But we got it. How many did we get it? 2 times?
Twice,
three?
yeah. Once in season 1, twice in season 2. So in season 3, you should take it off 3 times. So that's
they're building up.
they're building up. By season 10, he'll be off every episode. So there we go.
Fantastic. And it was just wasn't there like a fake news article about him hating wearing the helmet or something as well?
Yeah, there was. So there was. I don't know if you're familiar with someone called Grace Randolph, but she's like a YouTube like clickbait walking fucking moron, basically.
Right, she's an enemy of the show.
An enemy of the show. All she does is just fucking create fake stories, and just get as much traction as possible. I don't know how she gets away with the shit she does, but she basically reported that Pedro Pascal hates being in the Mandalorian costume. He wants more screen time, and because of this, he has been fired, and he was leaving midway through season 2. Obviously, that turned out to be bullshit.
Just fucking waffle, yeah.
We've seen season 2. Spoiler alert, he's in it until the very end. So,
also, do you think Pedro Pascal, right, do you think Lucasfilm, Disney, have got Pedro Pascal, the title character, the actor of the title character, in the first Disney Plus Star Wars series, like, live action? Do you think they've got him on a contract that would just allow him to be like, no, I don't want to do this anymore? Like, he could be half dead and they'd be like, get on fucking set now.
That's true, and he's spoken as well about how much he loves the show, how much he loves being in character. You know, in the first season, there was lots of reports that he wasn't really in it that much. Whenever you really saw the Mandalorian, it was mostly a stunt double. Whether or not that's true, I don't think it really matters. But in the second season, if you watch Disney Gallery, the behind the scenes like documentary of it, they made a clear decision to show you that he is on set a lot. He is in that costume quite a bit. He is the Mandalorian, which is
good news either way then, because he either is there every day and loves it, or Pedro Pascal has secured the easiest bag in Hollywood history.
I don't think it matters if he is doing just the voice and then the occasional role as well. I don't think that really matters. He's still playing the character. So I say fucking hats off to you, Pedro. But no, he is there on set quite a lot, and he is something that he clearly loves doing, and he is really, really great in that role. He is. I mean, we'll get into like the deeper moments, I'm sure, later on. But like you said, when when the mask comes off and he has those moments of acting, one moment in particular, in the episode with Bill Burr when they like infiltrate the Empire facility. And he takes his mask off. First of all, just the fact that he takes it off, just the fact that he himself makes that decision to take off the helmet, because it's his only option. It's his only option to save his son, which immediately for me, fucking amazing character development. That's the shit I live for. So hats off to that. But then when they have the Inglorious Bastards moment, the sit down with General fucking whatever his name is, General Night King or whatever. The way he's actually looking between them, he can't just like shift his eyes. He can't just use his peripheral vision because he's so used to being in the helmet. He's turning his full head and body around to look at them, which I think is just incredible.
I didn't notice that. That's a really cool little attention to detail. That.
Yeah, it's really good, and like I said, he is just really good in that role. All right, so season 1 as a whole, you liked it, yeah?
Yeah, I was well on board with it.
Excuse me, I was taking a drink. Cool. All right, season 2 then. So we started off with the episode on Tatooine with Cobb Vanth, a character who first appeared in a book. He appeared in Star Wars Aftermath. He didn't ever explicitly say that he was wearing Boba Fett's armor. He was just like a marshal of a town who was wearing Mandalorian armor. That's all. And it never explicitly said it was Boba Fett, but everyone kind of thought, is that Boba Fett? Is that maybe that's Boba Fett? And obviously this just confirmed that. So it was great to see that. What did you think of that episode?
I really liked it. So, like, my first introduction to his character, I'm glad you're here because I don't know anything about the books or anything, so I didn't know he was a pre-existing kind of thing. I thought it was entirely made up for the show. The first scene with him, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm not overly fond of this, because I thought he was going to be a bit of a one note. I'm the cop in the big city kind of thing. Like, I thought he was going to be a bit annoying. That very quickly changed. I knew from the. It's interesting you say like people in Tatooine were like, "Is this Boba Fett?" Because he is far too skinny to be Boba Fett. Like that armor just makes him look ridiculous.
Yeah, he is. I think that's intentional, though. I think that is very much intentional. Like, because when you see him, you first see Boba Fett's armor, and immediately you're like, "Holy shit, Boba Fett!" And you're like, "No, okay, no, that's not Boba Fett," because you're right. He is way too slim. It doesn't fit him properly at all. I think that is definitely intentional, though. And just to pick up on something, it's not that the people of Tatooine were like, "Is that Boba Fett?" What I'm saying is like Star Wars fans, like people were reading it and thinking, "Oh, is that Boba Fett?" Yeah, because we didn't actually know.
Okay, all right, yeah. I suppose when it's drawn as well, it looks different.
It's a book, not a comic book, you idiot.
Okay, all right.
Words on a
I
page.
said I hadn't read it, Nathan.
Yeah, no, but you said when it's drawn.
Okay, well, I assumed it was a comic book. I'm very sorry about this. I don't comment. You know what? This is why we're going to take another month off after this, because I'm sick of this. No, I really like this episode. This is the one with the IMAX sequence, right? Or is that the next episode?
No, yeah, it's this one with the crate dragon.
That's fucking cool. That's just a really cool season. I remember because you watched this before me. We were going to have a watch party together, and then Nathan just decided to stream it without me, and then claim he forgot. Yeah, there it is. You see? There it is, everyone. Proof.
I forgot. I just woke up and I was excited towards the Mandalorian. Leave me alone.
That's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. We just that's how it is. So yeah, you texted me and you said, by the way, there's an IMAX sequence, and I went, what? And you went, at one point the black bars just disappear, and I was like, oh, okay, shit. Yeah, that was just fun. It made me just kind of go, this shouldn't be TV. Like, this TV show has such a fucking insane budget for doing shit like this.
It does and it doesn't, though. That's the thing. It does for a TV show. Yeah, it has an insane budget, more than most TV shows, because it's Star Wars and it's obviously very VFX heavy. But the way they shoot it, like the volume set, like the 360 screens all around and everything like that. It's relatively cheaper than actually like going on location and everything like that. So it is done on the budget, but you cannot tell the difference though. Like, you just cannot, when they're on that set, when they're in that room surrounded by the LED screens, you cannot tell that they're in a room. You just think they're in the fucking Jordan Desert or wherever they are. Like, it's insane, man.
I watched when the gallery came out for season 2. I was watching about like the updates that they made to that kind of method or machine or whatever the fuck it is, however you'd class it. And there's such little cool things that, like, even I was thinking about it, like, you don't realize that when the camera zooms, the background behind them needs to zoom as well. Like,
yeah,
all that little shit, man, it's just so fucking clever, and it really goes back to the attention to detail. Because if it worked at 99% like quality, you'd notice, but it doesn't. It works flawlessly.
It really does, and I think that's the future of a lot of stuff as well. A lot of like TV and film, as opposed to just doing standard green screens. I think that is definitely the future, just because I think it's easier for the actors as well, because obviously they don't have to just look at a green room.
Can you imagine how much better Hayden Christensen's performance would have been with one of these?
Leave him alone, all right?
No. I love it, right? And I think he's great. Like, but he's said himself the worst thing about the prequels, of the fact that like people were like, "Oh, it's just acting. It's so easy," but not when you're staring at a fucking blue box, like, and you're told that that's going to be an alien that you've got to have a conversation with, like.
Yeah.
I completely have sympathy for him, but can you imagine, like, if the prequels were made today and they had this technology? I think there'd be different films completely.
We'll find out. Obi-Wan's using the same technology, so we'll find out. He's in it.
Don't let me down. We'll just watch like a year from now. I'm going to be like, Okay, Hayden Christensen sucks.
No, leave him alone. He's good.
No, he's a good lad. He's a good lad. He loves it. I've got a question to ask you because we're going to be like jumping all around here, so we'll get to everything. You've said before you forced me to watch the Clone Wars, but I still never got to see an episode of the Clone Wars with Ahsoka in it. Obviously, one of the big things about this season was that they brought in Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I wanted to ask you whether, one, it's like, obviously I know it was good casting because she played the role well, but did she play the role well in relation to the Ahsoka that you've built a connection to in the Clone Wars? Because I don't really know anything about that character other than she was Anakin's apprentice.
Okay, yeah. No, she did. Yeah, Rosario was very good. I can't take that away from her. I think I would have preferred Ashley Eckstein, the voice actress who plays her, and that's purely just because, like, I know, like, that's the character I've been with for the past 10 years or whatever. That's who Ahsoka is to me. But even then, though, the voice isn't that different. She, like, Rosario Dawson doesn't sound all that different to Ashley Eckstein. Yeah, sure, it's noticeable. It's clearly not the same voice, but, you know, Hayden Christian is not the same voice as fucking Matt Lanter in the Clone Wars, so these things happen. I liked it. I did like it. It was really good to see Ahsoka in live action, and it was very true to her character as well. Everything we know about her, it was personified perfectly in that episode.
Didn't Dave Filoni write that episode?
He did, yeah, which is obviously why, because like
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Dave Filoni is like, Ahsoka is his character. Like, no one at Lucasfilm or Star Wars can use Ahsoka without like getting permission from him, because he doesn't own the character. Lucasfilm owns the character, but he essentially owns the character just because he created her. He gave that character everything. He is essentially her father, much like Star Wars always likes to do. He really crafted that character.
Is it kind of like one of them things where, like, you say, like, you could be Dave Filoni's worst enemy, but if you're making an Ahsoka episode or like an Ahsoka film or something, everyone at the board meeting's going to be like, dude, just fucking speak to Dave Filoni. You need to.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like, there is no way you could do anything revolving around Ahsoka without consulting Dave Filoni. You just can't. He knows the character in and out. He just knows everything there is to know. So it makes sense that he wrote and maybe directed that episode. I think he did. Yeah, I think he wrote and directed it.
There's a brilliant moment with Dave Filoni. I think it's like my favorite on-screen Dave Filoni moment. It's in the Gallery documentary again, and he's speaking to Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau is obviously like, I think he's the showrunner, isn't he? So he's like,
yeah.
He's like, he must be the most busy man on the planet at the minute, or at that time anyway. And in the gallery, he's just kind of speaking to him, and Dave Filoni goes, I don't know what the context is, but he goes, "We could try spinning. That's a good trick," like as a joke to Jon Favreau, and obviously that's a reference to the prequels. So he goes to Dave Filoni, he goes to Jon Favreau, "We could try spinning. That's a good trick," and Jon Filoni, because the camera's on him, just goes. And it's so fucking evident he has no clue what the fuck he's talking about. He has no idea. He's just like, what the
that's why they work well together, because like Jon Favreau, he's kind of like the knowledge of like the original trilogy. He's very much an original trilogy kid, grew up watching those films, playing up with those action figures, which is essentially what this show is, just them two playing with action figures. And then Dave Filoni, while he also loves the originals, he's very much more a prequel guy. Obviously working on the Clone Wars. He's lived in that world for quite a while. And he's the reason why a lot of people, I think, have so much love for the prequels these days. I think it is definitely down to...
He definitely could like contextualize them a little bit and said, like, because in the first gallery he was like, when you think about them in this way, they're really something special. And that like, obviously I like the prequels anyway, but it did turn my head on them and made me go, you know what, like, yes, there's some bad stuff in them, but ultimately, like, they're part of Star Wars, and ultimately I like Star Wars, so I guess I like these.
And I think once you've watched the Clone Wars, I think you will like them even more because again it's just context. You just have more context for that storyline and what George was trying to do, because a lot of people don't realize this as well, but George was actually a big factor in the Clone Wars as well. George Lucas did a lot of the writing and stories for the Clone Wars. It was George Lucas and then Dave Filoni directly underneath him for the majority of Clone Wars. It was only season 7, the final season, where it was just Filoni on his own. So yeah, George Lucas had a really big input on that. Which is good. But yeah, Ahsoka was really good. I think the only gripe, the only two gripes I would have, is that Ahsoka's not a Jedi. She makes that very clear in Star Wars Rebels in one incredible moment. She's not a Jedi. She left the Order years and years ago by this point. And again, it's not that she said she is a Jedi. She just didn't correct anyone when they said she was a Jedi. So that's kind of a gripe. And another thing as well is her Montrail, so like Leku. I don't know if you know what that is, but basically tentacles coming out of her head.
Yeah, her big head things.
Yeah, they're a little short. They're a little short from what they should be. Like in Rebels, they're like pretty much down to her waist.
Do they get old? Do they get shorter with age?
Maybe so, maybe. But I think that's just because of like a stunt point of view, really. Like I think it would be hard to do it, like all the stunts and the action with like these long tentacles hanging off you.
Yeah, can you imagine them just flapping about? Like like if it's a practicality thing, I'm completely fucked.
I'm mostly okay with it. It's just one of those things. Like again, animation doesn't always translate great to live action. Like I completely understand that. You always have to change things and make it look better for live action and work with actually what you can work with, what is actually possible within the realm of live action. So I understand that things have to change, and it's just one of those things. You know, I'm fine with it really.
Yeah, no, I guess that's fair enough. Question for you. Well, essentially, do you think, right? So Moff Gideon was the bad guy, right? He's the and he's played by
Giancarlo Esposito.
That's the one, yeah. And he's like notorious with bad guys now. Like if you want a good bad guy, he's the man to go to. Like he's brilliant.
He is, yeah.
In season 1, I genuinely thought he was like one of the best like Star Wars villains up there. I mean, obviously I know you've got Vader and shit like that, but like as like the smaller scale Star Wars villains go, I thought he was well up there.
Yeah.
And then season 2 came around, and for about, I don't know, the first couple of episodes, I thought he was the same. I had the same opinion of him. Ultimately, do you think he was a bit of a letdown in the end?
It's difficult. He's kind of, but also kind of not, because he didn't really do much. And I guess in that sense, yes, okay, because he wasn't like some big threatening villain who won the day and made the hero, you know, took them to their weakest moment and everything like that. He didn't really get that moment. So in that I can, and especially if you have Giancarlo Esposito, you'd expect something like that, some like big grand moment where he's won and everything like that, and that just didn't happen. So yeah, in that respect, yeah. But also, I think he did the job that he was intended to do. I don't think we're done with him at all. I think he is definitely coming back into season 3 because he's not dead. He's trying to fucking top himself.
But where's the threat there though? Like, because his whole threat was the fact that he had like what was left of the Empire essentially just on him. He was like, he could basically just be like, go and fucking do this because I said so, and they'd be like, okay. And now he's going to be, well, I'd imagine, I know the show will obviously have a plot and an arc for him, but it feels like at the minute, like all of the kind of threat level that he'd built up for 2 seasons now is just kind of undone. And the way it was undone, I just felt a little bit like anticlimactic about it. I thought it was a bit, he's no longer really that much of a threat, because one bloke on his own isn't the threat. Like that's the whole point, the might of the Empire, like everyone against a band of rebels. That's the point. It's not, stormtroopers aren't fucking scary, but 200 of them are. Do you know what I mean?
I think I don't know what the threat is. I can't answer that because I just don't know. I don't think it's as simple as one man on his own can't be scary, because it absolutely can be. It just depends on who the man is.
Oh yeah, but it's not him. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think it can be in the right context. You just have to find the situation that can work. I think there's definitely a situation where Giancarlo Esposito on his own can be absolutely terrifying as a villain. I just think they have to find the right situation for it. What that is, I don't know. I'm not a fucking writer. I don't have a clue. But I definitely think there is something they can do there. Also, I think as well, I guess this is different for you because you haven't seen Rebels and you don't have the context for it. But the moment Din, the Mandalorian, like disarmed him, the moment he took the dark saber from him, immediately I was like, "Oh fuck, no, that's bad. But you shouldn't have done that."
I got that because in like I didn't get it at the time, but I watched the last episode twice. And Bo-Katan made a big thing. She was like, "I couldn't give a fuck what you do with him, but he surrenders to me."
Yeah.
And I picked that up on the second time around. I was like, oh, it was a big deal because I finished season 1 and kind of did my googling. What is the dark saber kind of thing? And I know that there's a bit of a debate and a conversation about, you know, do you need to surrender to someone, because didn't someone give Bo-Katan the dark saber?
So Sabine, who, funny enough, you've just watched the Good Place. Sabine is played by the actress who you said you didn't like, Vicky, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. She's Sabine. But anyway, yeah, Sabine gave the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan accepted it. And so people have been saying, well, is that true? Because, like, she accepted it, and then she became the leader of Mandalore. She took it willingly from Sabine. But I think context is everything, though, because when she took the Darksaber, we don't know what's happened after that until now. Like, until that period, all we know is that something truly fucking terrible happened to Mandalore, and she lost the Darksaber. She lost the right to rule Mandalore, and something happened to the planet itself. It's been, like, wiped out by the Empire. Yeah. What happened exactly, we don't know. One, like, YouTuber I watch, he's called Star Wars Explained, Alex. He posed the theory that possibly Mandalorians didn't accept Bo-Katan as a true ruler because she didn't take the Darksaber willingly. She was handed it. She didn't take it in combat like it's supposed to do. She didn't earn it. She just took it willingly from someone who handed it to her. So they didn't give her that respect.
There's a big thing about, like, the story is what wins it, right? Like, you need to be able to. It comes along with, like, a good war story kind of thing.
Mandalorian, the culture of Mandalorians is all like very Game of Thrones. It's all like houses and clans and, like, very swords and warriors, and they respect like bravery and courage and all that kind of stuff. It's really weird and interesting and what am I trying to say here? It's very kind of old fashioned in that respect. Very much the more fantasy side of Star Wars, which is great in certain aspects. So yeah, they very much, like, respect that kind of like you say, the story and what you did to earn it, essentially.
Okay. Yeah. So that wasn't, like, I don't know, maybe there's somewhere I can go, because I'm sat there and thinking, like, when I first watched it, and, like, the second time around, I was thinking to myself, like, because that seems to be, like, the lead plot element that we can kind of go, I'm sure that will pop up again in season 3.
Yeah.
And I felt to myself, like, oh, that's kind of like a like the allegiance of a sword kind of thing, or like people's opinion on the sword's allegiance. And I was like, I'm not sure if I'm really here for that. It felt a little bit boring to me. But then I remembered that I've watched fucking 8 Harry Potter movies.
I was just gonna say, it's the elder one.
Yeah, and that's one of my biggest problems with Deathly Hallows Part 2 is how the entire massive monologue or massive conversation in the book that spans like fucking 8 pages or something of Harry going, yeah, but then when I shot it out of Malfoy's hand, the wand belonged to me, and how much I love that. And then when it didn't appear, and then the battle between Harry and Voldemort is just in silence. I
Yeah.
fucking hated that shit.
Yeah.
So I know full well that I'm not into it now, but give me half a season and I'll be there. Like, who did that person punch that person in a particular episode? Who does its allegiance belong to, kind of thing.
I think it could be really interesting because what we know from Din, he's a Mandalorian, but he's an outsider. He was raised in a cult in the Watch, who basically trying to get back to the roots of the old Mandalore, the more like brutal and dark times of Mandalore, the ways where you didn't take off your helmet, you was just the mask, you was an armor, you was a weapon and not a person. That's what he has been brought up to believe. Whereas people like Bo-Katan, people like Satine, Sabine, plenty of other Mandalorians, they were brought up in this more sort of like modern way of we respect rulers, we respect the Darksaber. He or she who holds the Darksaber rules Mandalore. That's not something Din has been brought up with, and you saw it there. He was like, "Take it, I yield, whatever. I don't want it. You have it." But again, Bo-Katan is saying to him, "Doesn't work like that. We can't do that. She doesn't say this, but she's saying we need to fight for it." Where that's going to go in season 3, I really hope that's something they carry on with. I really hope Katie Sackhoff comes back and we get some more Bo-Katan and Din Mandalorian storylines. I would absolutely fucking love that. I think that's really a good potential for season 3, because I think season 3 is going to be a departure, because I don't think we're going to have Grogu, at least not for a while anyway.
Yeah, I was wondering this, right? Because there's two options, and I don't know which one I'd prefer, to be completely honest with you. The first option is that he's either just not in it, or like he comes back in like a big way at the end, and it's like fucking, I don't know, teenage Yoda or something, like now super evolved. But no, so it'll either be like he comes back in like a big way towards the end of the series and fixes all the problems.
I think that Grogu won't be in season 3 at all. I think he will be completely out of the storyline, and I think that's good. I think he will come back. I think that he will be in the show again. I don't think he died at the temple like everyone's suggestion. I think he does come back to Din at some point. Din even says to him, "I'll see you again. We'll see each other again," he says. I definitely think that's going to happen. I just think they need time to allow that, though. They need to establish Din without the child, because before Din had Grogu, he was a bad, morally ambiguous person. He was a bounty hunter, killed needlessly, didn't really care about anyone. And then, we've seen it. The show showed us, as soon as he met Grogu, he started to change. He started to become more concerned with his actions and more concerned with his honor, especially. I think the line a lot of people tag onto is the my armor's lost its integrity, and that's is he talking about the armor, or is he talking about himself there? Because he is the armor, he is the Mandalorian, the weapon.
I never thought about it like that. That's quite interesting.
Yeah. So I think when he says that, when he says my armor's lost its integrity, I think he's talking about himself. He's let himself become this sort of a weapon, essentially, and now that he's had the child Grogu in his life, he's seeing that's not the way. As much as he has been told it, that's not the way anymore.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really interesting path to go down, and that's why I think in season 3 you should have that separation, because then you can see how is that going to affect him. Is he going to slip back into all his old ways? Is he going to be a little bit down, a little bit darker now that he doesn't have Grogu to look after?
He's going to be look, realistically, right? How much of this is Grogu going to even know about?
Well, none of it. He's not going to know about any of it, but I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that Din knows. I think it's the effect that Grogu had on Din, not the other way around, really.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I'm conscious of time, so I'll ask, I'm going to press on. One serious question I have for you, and I'd like to weigh in on this as well. Can you believe that in the good year of 2020, the director of Ant-Man and the Wasp was trusted with the return of Luke fucking Skywalker.
Right, I'm not here for this Ant-Man and the Wasp slander. First of all, all right, it's a good film. I like it. I like the Ant-Man movie.
It is fine at best.
Yeah, it's not amazing, but I'm not here for any slander for it. All right, I'll have you. All right.
Okay.
Leave your slander at the door here, good sir. That's not what we do at Another Happy Pod, unless we're talking about Last Christmas.
If it helps, right? Well, hang on. Let me slander another segment then. Can you believe that the man who directed the worst episode of season 2 of Mandalorian also directed the best?
All right. First of all, I'm not. If you think I'm having any frog lady slander either,
no, big spider slander. I know it's the same episode. I'm here for the frog lady. I'm not here for the big spiders, man.
I'm here for the big spiders. That was a good episode.
It was okay at best.
No, well, we're gonna have fighting words, good sir. But yeah, I can because he's a good director. So yeah, what do you want from me?
Oh, well, what I wanted from you, Nathan, was a nice clickbait title, but you've refused to give it to me. Right,
I refuse to play your games. All right.
Let this. Let's do the big 2 things that we've been saving for the end. Boba Fett, thoughts?
I thought I would hate it because I've never been one of the people. I've never been one of the people who loved Boba Fett. I just didn't get it. Like from what we see in the movies, he's fucking terrible. All he does is flail around. He says 4 words at best, and then he flies into the side of Jabba's barge and falls into the Sarlacc pit, and then the Sarlacc pit burps, and it's a great joke, and we all laugh, and Boba Fett is dead. All right? I never understood the obsession that some
It's because he had the cool voice before he had the
it was the Jeremy Bullock voice.
Yeah. He was
not Jeremy Bullock actually. Jeremy Bullock was the guy in the costume, but the actual someone else. Yeah,
and it's a big RIP to him as well.
Yeah, shout out. He did. Yeah, just before like the last episode, I think. Yeah.
Oh man, that straight up sucks.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, so I never understood the obsession that particularly older fans had with this character. I didn't get it at all. I was like, yeah, fair enough. Do what you do. Do what makes you happy. Not for me particularly, but you do you. And clearly, Jon Favreau was again of that generation. Jon Favreau was someone who loved Boba Fett. He clearly wanted to do a Boba Fett TV show. Kathleen Kennedy said, "No, well, let's hold off on that here. Do something else. Do The Mandalorian." And went, "Okay, we'll do this. We'll see where this goes." And here we are. Boba Fett is back. Again, I thought I would hate it, but you know what? Jon Favreau and Robert Rodriguez, they made me like Boba Fett. So.
That man is something else, right? One of my favourite fucking things, and I actually screen recorded it because I loved the little piece of it so much. There's something so like wholesome about him planning the episode and going home to his 2 sons, asking them to put on like a little stormtrooper toy helmet, and the same for the Boba Fett helmet, and then recreating the shot he was going to make, like making an animatronic, but putting in like fake, like shitty green screens, and where he didn't even key out the green, like it was so low effort, but it was so fucking cool. And he had like stormtrooper toys that were like blowing up or falling over. I love that, man. It's such a fucking cool way of like doing something. Like, how often do you get to see that on a budget of that size?
Oh, hardly ever, and it definitely worked. And he said like specifically he needed to get the exact vibe across of what he was going for, like storyboards and animatics or whatever. They just wouldn't cut it. He needed to show what he wanted to get across, and he did it perfectly. I think if you put the footage beside each other, the only difference really would be that one clearly has a much higher budget than the other. Other than that, they'd be shot for shot.
Yeah, like I loved like I to be honest, I was never one of them people that was like, Boba Fett is the coolest person alive, right? It was quite obvious that he was just not the coolest person alive. He looks cool. He's got cool armor, and I like the whole, like, you know, it was nice to watch, like, especially because of the versions I saw of the original trilogy where they already had the new actor's voice. What's he called again?
Tamara Morrison.
That's it, yeah. And they had like, there's something cool about a New Zealand accent, especially one that sounds so like gruff like that. The whole he's no use to me did. It was really cool. But yeah, like I saw that he was cool, but I never was like, this guy's the best, because I kind of was already in on the joke that this guy's kind of sucks. And then, mate, he came out in this like a fucking barbarian or some ridiculous shit. Like that stick he had that was just crushing the masks and stuff like that. It was just
the gaffy stick. Yeah.
Yeah, it was genuinely madness.
It was. It was really well done. I think definitely, like, yeah, all right, sure. It may not match up with what we've seen. Like, he's not the goofball of the galaxy that we've seen in the movies. But you know what? Fuck it, I'm okay with that retcon. Like, if you want to make him cool, man. I'm okay with that. And I kind of like. No, I don't. I love that Tamara Morrison came back, because he just seems so excited to be playing not this character again, but a version of Jango Fett, Boba Fett in this case. Because if you watch the Disney gallery, he is so pure and happy.
He's loving it.
He is having the time of his life, and like they show you that he put his own like. Is Maori? I think he's a Maori tribe fighting style into the character of Boba Fett as well. And then you see him on set doing the haka, and that's how they got involved with it. And it was just really good. It was really good to see him back, and just to hear. I'm just a simple man making his way in the universe, like my father before me. Two great Star Wars quotes put together. I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah,
you just cannot go wrong.
It was good. It was so good to see him back, and I like. I have no idea, and we won't go into this because we'll probably save it for when ultimately the series comes out and we talk about it on this podcast. I've no idea what we're going to see in the book of Boba Fett, and I'm very excited about the fact that I have no idea what it could be. Let's talk about the big thing, all right, which is obviously Bill Burr.
No,
Bill Burr's great as well. A side point, Bill Burr in this episode is one of the performances of the season, which is fucking great. His scene where he just gets up and is just so done listening to the fucking smug pricks. Smug prick of like, was it like an officer or a general or something?
It was an officer. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just shoots him straight in the fucking chest.
Again, it was a great scene, very much like the bar in Inglourious Bastards. Very much what it reminded me of. So it was just a
That's
great
a good
scene.
shout. Yeah. It's basically that scene, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of fun with that scene. Yeah, I really liked it. But yeah, that's not what we wanted to talk about. Move on.
Big man Luke. I'm gonna preface this by saying, so yeah, look, there were so many people in this when this came out that I'd imagine that Dave Filoni was at home and just went, like, when the reactions to this came out, Dave Filoni just went, "No, you don't get it again." There is so many fucking people that were like, finally, this is how you do Luke Skywalker. And of course this version of Luke Skywalker is going to be more in line with the fucking Luke Skywalker you saw in Return of the Jedi, because it happened 5 fucking years ago.
Exactly.
Not fucking 30. Yeah. Oh my god.
And he hasn't had all the fucking tragedy and trauma that older Luke has gone through yet.
Do you know what? I'm so sick of seeing it on Twitter. Like, I'd like to formally invite you. If you don't like The Last Jedi, my Twitter's not private anymore. DM me, right? I would love to get you on this podcast so we can bully you. That's all I have to say.
I was the same, and I think when I first saw the episode, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, because pure, it had nothing to do with the episode at all. It was purely because of exactly what you was talking about. Like, I was excited to see Luke. I really was. Don't get me wrong. But the moment the episode ended, I didn't even open Twitter, but I already knew there would just be so many tweets and articles saying, "Finally, this is how you did it. Rian Johnson, who Last Jedi is not canon anymore. This is who's got. Thank you, Dave Filoni. Thank you. Fuck off. No. Okay.
I wish I could. It's funny because of The Good Place as well. I'm picturing like my ideal version of heaven, and it would be in that 5 minutes between finishing the episode and before I went on Twitter, and that's my happy mental state where I'm like, I really liked that. I must have been so slow on the uptake because I was sat there the whole time, and I got through an X-wing, a black glove, a hand without a black glove, a green lightsaber, until something in me, as just before he took off his hood, went, "Oh, it's probably Luke." Right, I was so fucking slow on the uptake because I thought to myself, "There's no way they'll do it."
You saw the actual lightsaber. How did you not get it then?
Because I was just excited about the fact that there was a lightsaber, Nathan. I'm not a big loser like you, all right? I watch it and I was like, this is good. I'm having a good time, and I don't always piece things together the quickest. I'm awful at picking up like Easter eggs or references and stuff. It's why immediately after watching almost anything, I just go on IMDb and read the trivia. And I'll be honest, right? I'll admit this. We're now. I think this is our 16th episode of this podcast. It's what I do to take my notes on everything. None of my opinions are my own. I'm a fraud.
You poor simple man. No, it was good. It was really good to see Luke Skywalker. Again, reactions aside, I did struggle with it at first, just because I think it kind of took away from, for me, what was probably the best moment in the series, and that was the goodbye between Grogu and Din. That for me was the crux of the entire show. That was the most emotional, most poignant scene we've had. Those two saying goodbye. The fact that, like, in the last episode, we saw what Din was willing to do for this kid. We saw that he was willing to abandon his beliefs, the very fucking rules that he's lived by as a child to save his son. He was willing to take off his helmet and abandon those beliefs. And again, in this episode, we get the next evolution of that. He lets his son see his face. He lets Grogu, not only lets him touch his face, and it's just the most heartwarming, the most emotional scene ever. And it is just a little upstaged by the fact that Luke Skywalker's there, just looking on. But again, it's all great though. I like it all.
Yeah, I like it as well. I think it was. I do think you're right. Like, hello.
What the fuck happened there?
I don't fucking know, Nathan. We're on a time schedule as well, so shut your mouth about it. We're carrying on now. So, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. A good season overall. I was quite excited to see I liked all the bits like, oh, like, look at this deep fake of Luke. It's so much better. And the people that comment that realizing, yeah, but they did 99% of the work. Like, yes, you can put a reflection in his eyes. Well done. But did you take like a fucking 60 something? Or like, how old is Mark Hamill? Like 70 or some shit?
Yeah, 70 something. I don't imagine. I don't know.
Yeah, like, you didn't take that version of Mark Hamill and make him look fucking 20. I love that. What did you think of the whole season as a whole?
Good, really good. Step in the right direction. It evolved on the plots and the story of the first, and like I said, the character development of Din himself was what I loved the most about it. That's the driving force behind the show. The relationship between Din and his son. That's the heart of it. So I was really glad to see that evolved and the two worked well together. Like I said, season 3, what's going to happen? Don't know. Grogu probably won't be there, and I think that's okay. I think it's good to evolve that character, and if he does go back, if it is a character undevelopment, I guess is the word, that's okay too. I think you can have that. You can have that backtrack.
I feel like Grogu was like the thing that kept people interested for season. So like season 1 was great, and then like season 1 also got like the people that didn't really care enough about it, but then went, oh, he's cute, to watch it and talk about it on Twitter. Then he's in season 2 and it's great, and then they ushered in like a bit more like canon stuff, or like more obscure stuff like the Darksaber, Bo-Katan, stuff like that. Stuff like mainstream Star Wars fans maybe wouldn't know so much about. And then now they're going to move away from it a little bit and circle back around to it, obviously. But the fact that they're evolving the show is quite interesting. It's always good to keep shit fresh rather than just rely on tried and tested methods.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for what comes next, whenever that may be.
I'm going to say this is a paternal pod. Nathan, what about you?
What does that even mean?
It means it's a very fatherly pod, Nathan, all right? It was an alliteration. I went for it. Just fucking say your thing.
Look, I'm going to say is I really liked it, and I can't wait to see more. So Boo. Fucking do that what you will, Boo.
You. Fuck you. Right. As always, thank you very much for listening. I hope you've had a whale of a time on this episode of Another Happy Pod, brought to you by us. Me. Be sure to check us out on Twitter for all the gifts and that good shit. You can find us there at Another Happy Pod. Drop us a tweet, let us know what you would like to see here next. Otherwise, stay groovy, and we will see you on Thursdays now. We're switching it up. We're going to be doing on Thursdays because I can't be asked to keep losing every single Sunday to uploading and editing this.
There we go. Also, as well, people might not know this, but shout out to Lawrence for landing a job editing with Mr. Sunday Movies.
Oh, Nathan,
great fucking catch from my man here. We're all very proud of him. If you want to go check out Mr. Sunday Movies, what was it called again?
The video was called like Marvel Powers We Haven't Seen Yet or something.
Marvel Powers We Haven't Seen Yet. So go check that out. Support Lawrence. Support Mr. Sunday. Not that he needs it.
I'll clarify. I did not get a job. I got one offer of an opportunity, and it was cool.
Oh, there's more to come. We'll see.
No, you don't know that. Don't jinx stuff. Right. Okay. All right. We'll see you. We'll see everyone back here next Thursday. Have a lovely week, and don't cough on your friends.
Yeah, don't. Wear a mask. Another happy pod. Bye.
Bye.